another edition of Project 6 JGS. Today's content is going to cover the review of this Hyundai I-40 estate. I took delivery of this car about 3 days ago, and my first impressions weren't that good, but things have got slightly better. Let me tell you about it. So let's have a good look at the outside of this Hyundai I-40. First of all, what I noticed was these quite attractive projector style optic headlights that do have quite a nice LED fascia upon them. The front of the car is probably its most attractive feature. I quite like the big gawping almost front grille, which almost looks Audi R8-esque. We've got chrome on the front, we've got gloss black trim on the air vents here, down here, and all around the grille here as well. So as we move along the front and into the side, we've got the gloss black trim mixed with the chrome around the wing mirror here, and again, gloss black's very in at the moment and quite attractive. The wing mirrors on this model are not electrically operated, so they're manual, and we have a strip of LED indicator in there as well. Moving along the side, it's quite a high-sided vehicle, and as a result of that, they've engineered in this nice crease line which goes down the side of the car here, which goes right up to the tailgate and breaks up that wide, deep door fascia and makes it look a little bit less cumbersome. So as we move around the back, got quite an odd angle there, I've noticed. It just looks a little bit odd to me, but obviously a design feature. That line is not in line with that line there, but a design feature, perhaps a Hyundai thing. So we've got the petrol cap on the passenger side, or the near side. The rear lights on this vehicle are quite large, and integrated into that we've got the chrome piece which runs along the middle of the tailgate there. Big bold writing, or signage we should say, for the designation of this car, which is a Hyundai I-40 CRDI. Slight smoke to the rear window there. Spoiler, we have a spoiler on the back there. So let's move inside now and see what details we have in. Okay, so let me just jump in here. So I'm going to stick the ignition on now and perhaps turn the engine on so you can see the illumination of this dashboard, which is quite nice in a very iridescent blue. So let me just shut the door up here so we've got a little less noise. I'd like to bring your attention to this centre console, which again, we have blue dialling. One thing that I didn't necessarily like at the beginning was the fan buttons all the way over here. It seemed like a bit of a stretch, and I've got quite long arms, and that's potentially too far away from the driver. So the dashboard contour is quite pretty. You've got some sort of metallic-y grey polished trim panel that runs along the middle here and obviously into the door. We have a few cubby holes in here, which when you press this button here, you can see that one opens up, and inside of there we have the USB and auxiliary outlets. This car is equipped with an extra driving mode. You can see here drive mode, which will illuminate on the dashboard. If I press it, a little sport emblem comes up there. Now, I can't necessarily discern for myself what difference that makes. I would like to think that perhaps it lowers the suspension of the vehicle and tightens up the steering wheel and readies the turbo for power, but in real terms I don't think it really does half of those things. I definitely noticed that the steering feels more dynamic when that button is depressed, but not much more. So we've got a hydraulic handbrake here, and obviously to release that you need to push it down and press the brake pedal at the same time, and then you see that the handbrake is disabled, and to re-enable it you have to pull that up, and you hear a little noise from underneath the car where it's hydraulically clamping the wheels. Next to that we have an auto hold function. Again, when you press that button there, you notice on there that you've got a little hold button next to the handbrake emblem, and what that does is every time you come to a standstill, it brings the handbrake in and stops you rolling. So this is a manual car. It has 6 speeds, 6 forward speeds on the car. The gear shift handle has actually got quite a nice hologramic almost top to it, which I thought was quite a nice touch. Moving on to the steering wheel, we have our volume controls and controls for the stereo, the Bluetooth cooling and Lingtronics command button there as well. Then we have the menus for the different, when you press these buttons here, you get different menus that change in here, so the service, and you can scroll through the driver functions to give yourself the average miles per gallon, the service intervals, the miles that you've done, and all manner of things like that. They're pretty standard on most cars these days, but it's a nice thing to have. Around here we have again more blue lighting and auto headlights. Typically they adopt the similar sort of stalk pattern as a Japanese car, and we haven't got any automatic wipers on this car, but we do have various modes of intermission for the wipers, which is, it's all usable. I mean, it's nice to have these automatic features, but not necessarily a must-have. This price point on this car is about £23,000. That gives you a 1.7 litre diesel engine with about 136 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in about 10.5 seconds. So it's not the quickest car, but it's built for economy and obviously for reliability. Like with many diesel powered cars, they don't really like the lower gears. Once you get into third gear in this car, it's got quite a decent power band. It's got 6 speeds on this gearbox, and it's punchy enough that you would be able to keep up with normal traffic, and that's not a disappointment, if I'm honest. Most of the diesels that I drive don't really like first and second gear. Once you get them into third, they seem to give all that power, all that low down grunt. The seats in this car actually offer a fair degree of support in the vital areas of lower back and arse. They do have a tilt on the base of the seat, and also you've got the front, forward and backward motion. You've got no lumbar support, but it seems quite good anyway. I've done a couple of long journeys in this car and I've not come out of it with an aching back, so that can only be a positive thing. So the feel of this car on the road, we're just on the dual carriageway at the moment, pulling 1900 RPM in 6th gear, doing 62 miles an hour. You can definitely hear tyre roar. You can definitely hear the engine is in there. Not so loud now, obviously we're pulling only a few revs. This type of car just really wants to be driven smoothly and progressively. It doesn't want to be over revved. It just wants to be use all the power in the low down grunt of its diesel engine. It doesn't want to be pushed into corners or heavily braked upon. And if you drive like that, this car's going to be absolutely fine. You'll probably like it a lot. Although this car feels quite nice to drive, and I must emphasise, it's not special, but it's quite nice to drive. It doesn't seem to have much credibility on the road. I have just noticed on the 4th day of driving this car that there is a quite annoying rattle coming from the back of the car. I'm yet to investigate, but that is quite infuriating. Visibility in the car is okay, although the A-pillar is quite wide, and they are always getting bigger on modern day cars. You've got airbag cushions that come out of there these days, not on this car I should add, but obviously the structure of the car is going to be a lot more rigid than they used to be. The B pillar has got, probably due to the fact that I've got the seat back so far, there's definitely a blind spot there that needs to be addressed by me, and it might just mean you need that extra look around just to make sure if you're changing lane on the motorway that there's not something hiding in that little spot there. The manufacturer's claims for the fuel consumption on this vehicle are about 67 miles to the gallon. In the real world, I'm showing right now currently 35.4, and that could be down to the journeys that I've been doing are quite short. I've been sitting in a lot of traffic, but it's definitely not going to live up to. I would imagine that this car would probably be more like 45 miles to the gallon if you were driving it on a bit of urban and a bit of rural. So what's my overall thoughts about this Hyundai i40? Well, I wouldn't buy it with my own money, and if I was given it as a company vehicle, I wouldn't necessarily be happy. So I would imagine that for me, the car's not what I want, but it does actually appeal to quite a wide demographic of the British public. So this has been my review of this Hyundai i40. In recap, it's not a bad car. It's not a bad car. There's definitely more positive to be said about it than there is negatives. Thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to comment, like and subscribe. There will be more videos coming your way very, very soon. Many thanks. Bye bye. What's that noise? It's gone now. There it is, I can hear it. Can you hear that vibration? Where's that coming from? Does it at that rev? Oh my god, that is so annoying! It's a brand new car, it shouldn't be making noises like that. Oh my god, that's so loud! I'll put the radio on, maybe I'll be able to drown it out a little bit.